Hello children, in this video we'll continue with the trial scene from Celerio's lines. It is page number 164, Merchant of Venice, Act 4, Scene 1. We know that Duke is waiting for Dr. Bellario, and meantime Celerio comes and he says, "My lord, here stays without. Outside there is a messenger with letters from the doctor. New come from Padua. He has come now only from the place called Padua." So Duke says, "Bring the letters and call the messenger." Bassanio says, "Good cheer, Antonio. What man courage yet?" Meanwhile, when these two are talking, and Bassanio and Antonio are talking to each other, Bassanio sees Antonio in this condition. He cannot see. He is a good friend. So he is cheering up Antonio and he says, "You should have courage. Before even Duke will take one drop of blood from you, he will have to take my flesh, blood, bones and all." Antonio at this says, "I'm a tainted wether of the flock." Look at the passivity he has. He says, "I'm a tainted wether of the flock. I'm like a sick sheep in the herd, which is fit for death, suitable to be slaughtered at the earliest. I'm like a weakest kind of fruit, which drop earliest to the ground. And so let me die. You cannot better be employed, Bassanio. See, you have a best fitting task that you have, Bassanio, is that you have to live and write my epitaph." Epitaph means the inscription on my tombstone. At this point, Nerissa enters. This is a link to Duke's lines when he says, "Bring us letters, call the messenger." So Nerissa enters, dressed like a lawyer's clerk. So Duke asks, "Have you come from Padua, from Dr. Bellario?" "Yes, from both. I am from Padua and I have come from Dr. Bellario with his greetings for you." And he, because Nerissa is in the disguise of a boy clerk, so he now, for Nerissa, presents a letter. Bassanio says, "What dost thou whet thy knife so earnestly?" At this very moment, Shylock is very ready to take 1 pound of flesh from Antonio. He is ready because he has full faith in himself. And he sees he does not see himself at fault, and is ready to take 1 pound of flesh as a penalty. So Bassanio asks him, why are you whet thy knife so earnestly, Shylock? Why do you sharpen your knife with so much attention?" Shylock says, "To cut the forfeiture, to take the penalty from that bankrupt here as to Antonio," refers to Antonio. Gratiano says, "Not on thy soul, but on thy soul." Now we have soul and soul, two words, okay, with the similar pronunciation but the different meanings. Soul, S-O-L, soul, and S-O-U-L, soul. So he says, "It's not on the sole of your shoe, but on your soul, harsh Jew, cruel Jew, that you should sharpen your knife. But no metal can, no, not the hangman axe, bear half the keenness of thy sharp envy, can no prayers pierce thee." So your cruelty has the sharpness, or your envy has the sharpness more than that of the axe of the hangman. Can no prayers penetrate your heart? Shylock says, "No, none that thou hast wit enough to make." You don't have enough of those prayers to make. I cannot. So Gratiano again speaks a very important dialogue of Gratiano that we have here. This refers to Shylock's wolfish nature. Children, wolfish nature would be, of course, a person who is after somebody's life, who is ready to take flesh, who is bloodthirsty, who is starving to take blood or flesh from someone. Shylock is having these characteristics. Therefore Gratiano says, "Oh, be thou damned, inexcredible dog. May you be damned, shameless man here. And for thy life let justice be accused," because you are living. Then justice ought to be blamed for letting you live. "Thou almost makest me waver in my faith. You make me doubt my religious faith, that good people don't suffer." So this is his faith and religion, but you make me waver my faith to hold opinion with Pythagoras, and therefore I am one with Pythagoras. I am led to believe in the theory of Pythagoras. There is my faith which is wavering now, and I am led to believe in the theory of Pythagoras, according to which, what is it? The souls of animals infuse themselves into the trunks of men. The souls of animals, they enter into the trunks of bodies of men. Thy courage spirit governed a wolf, and your evil spirit once lived where? Once lived in. Your cruel spirit once lived in a wolf. So he's saying that this might have happened with you. Why are you wolfish? Because once your cruel spirit might have been living in a wolf who was hanged for killing a person. And even from the gallows did his fell soul fleet. And when from that place where he was hanged, his wild spirit might have escaped the body and might have interlaced in thy unhallowed dam, infused itself in thee. So when you were unborn, when you were being carried in the body of your unholy mother, the soul might have entered into you when you were still unborn. Why? I'm saying this because your desires, your wishes are wolf-like, they are bloodthirsty, you are starved, and you are hungry for flesh and blood. Shylock says, till thou canst rail the seal from off my bond, thou but offendest thy lungs to speak so loud. Till the time your abusive words don't seal from off my bond, don't destroy the legal safeguard from my agreement. I don't care. Repair thy wit, good youth, or it will fall to cureless ruin. I stand here for law. So you are only hurting your lungs. To speak loud, you're just hurting your lungs till the time my legal safeguard is not destroyed from the agreement. So you're just hurting your lungs. Repair thy wit. Come back to your senses. Good youth, young man. Or it will fall to cureless ruin, or you will destroy yourself. I am standing here to claim justice. So he's very sure that he's there to get the judgment legally. So Duke says, this letter is from Bellario, doth commend a young learned doctor to our court. Where is he? Where is? Because it's written in the letter that he's about to come. So Nerissa says, he attended here hard by, he's here close by, to know your answer. He's just waiting whether you will admit him or. Duke says, with all my heart. So he sent 3 or 4 people to escort and courteously get him to the place. And he says, meanwhile, the court will listen to Bellario's letter. So what is written in the letter? Children, we know on one hand, Portia had sent Balthazar, her loyal servant, to Dr. Bellario. Dr. Bellario is Portia's cousin. She had sent Balthazar when she was in Belmont, asking for the robes and some letter or notes. So Balthazar went to Bellario on Portia's behalf to get some notes and robes and met Portia at Trenet, the place where the ferries had to go to Venice. On the other hand, we now come to know that Duke had also sent for help to Dr. Bellario. So same Dr. Bellario, that means is a very renowned lawyer to whom Duke had also sent someone as a messenger and asking for help in this particular case. So now in this clerk, in the letter that clerk is reading, we have the reference to Portia. So Bellario has written in the letter that he is sending someone, a very young lawyer, because he was not well. So he's sending a very young lawyer who happens to be at that time there. And actually, who is this lawyer? This lawyer is Portia in the disguise of a man. And therefore, let's go through the letter. Your grace shall understand that at the receipt of your letter, I am very sick when I receiving the letter. But in that instant, by chance, when your messenger came in loving visitation, when the messenger came, there was on a friendly visit a young doctor called Balthazar. So Portia has taken her servant's name only for coming in a disguise of a lawyer's robes. She has taken Balthazar's name. So the letter says that his name is Balthazar, and I acquainted him with the cause in controversy. So I've already told about the case, and then in controversy between Jew and Antonio, already been told. We turned over many books together, looked into many books all together, and he's furnished with my opinion. He knows my opinion into this matter and bettered with his own learning, which he will better. He will make it better by his own learning, the greatness whereof I cannot enough commend. The greatness of his learning, his intelligence, I cannot even commend, and comes with him at my importunity to fill up your grace's request in my stead. He is aware of all the opinion, although with the vast knowledge he has, the depth of which I cannot praise adequately. Instead of my visit to fill up your grace request in my stead, so in my stead is actually instead. So instead of me coming, he is carrying my opinion for you, for your at your grace's request. I beseech you, I request you, let his lack of years be no impediment to let him lack a reverend estimation. Lack of years is very young. So, although he is very young, let not his young age make you withhold him in high esteem. Give him high esteem, because don't say that he is of young age, so you will not. So, let not his young age make you withhold your high esteem for him. I leave him to your gracious acceptance, whose trail shall better publish his commendation. So, I request you to accept him and try him. Then it will be seen how much better he is than my praise. Better than publish his commendation, better than my praise for him. You hear the learned Blériot, what he writes, and here I take it is the doctor come. Is the doctor here? Doctor means doctor of law. That is Portia, dressed like a doctor of law. She enters as a lawyer. Give me your hand for shaking, for welcoming. Come you from Old Blériot? Are you coming from Old Blériot? Yes, my lord. So you are welcome. So Duke welcomes her. Are you acquainted with the difference that is there, or the dispute involved in the present case before the court? So I am informed, she says, and Duke says Antonio and old Shylock both stand in front. So Portia asks them, meeting them for the first time. Actually, really, she is meeting them for the first time. So she asks, who is Shylock? Are you Shylock? Yes, Shylock is my name. Of a strange nature is the suit you follow. The case that you have brought here is of strange nature, yet in such rule that the Venetian law cannot impugn you as you do proceed, and still it is the case in which there is no fault actually, and we in Venetian law has to find faith in it. And to Antonio she says, you stand within his danger, do you not? Are you not in danger from him? So, yes. And you confess the bond? Yes, I do. Then must you be merciful. So again, this is another person coming. So as a lawyer, Portia has come, who is asking for mercy. Okay, so Portia, so this is the contradictory belief that Shylock has. Portia is actually, she is voicing the Christian law which regards mercy and forgiveness as the highest attribute to God. Therefore, Portia says, then must the Jew be merciful? So Shylock asks, on what compulsion must I? Tell me that. And now we have a long dialogue by Portia. So it is a surprise when she is actually trying to convince Shylock to be merciful. A very long and important dialogue, children. So Portia says the quality of mercy is not strained. It cannot be forced. That is the quality of mercy. What else is the quality? It droppeth as a gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath, and it is twice blessed. It blesses him that gives and him that takes. So, what are the qualities? The quality of mercy cannot be forced. What is the other quality? It drops freely as the gentle rain from heaven on the earth below. And twice blessed, another character. The person who gives mercy and the person who shows mercy and him who receives it. So, two ways it is twice blessed. The mightiest in the mightiest. It is the greatest quality. Two mightiest we have here. First mightiest, greatest quality, and of the most powerful. Again mightiest of the most powerful men, or in the most powerful men. It becomes the throne monarch better than his crown. A throne monarch with his crown, he is good, but he would be better if he has merciful nature. His scepter shows the force of temporal power. Scepter is a rod which the king holds in his hand, symbolizing his royal power. So his royal power, his earthly power, is shown by the scepter, the attribute to awe and majesty, and he commands power and grandeur by this. It is enthroned. So, but what is important? Wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings? And people dread and fear the kings because they are powerful. They have the earthly power. But mercy is above the sceptered sway. So what is important? That mercy is above. Mercy symbolizes more than this. Okay? And it is enthroned. Where is it? Where is the seat of mercy? In the hearts of the king. And if it is in the hearts of the kings, this is the attribute of God himself. And therefore, the earthly power doth then shows like as God's when mercy seasons justice. So, therefore, the king who has this noble quality of mercy in the heart, it is a quality that belongs to Almighty God. The power of kings becomes almost divine if the kings work when giving the justice, if they work with mercy. So, they become like divine. And earthly power doth then show like as gods, till they become like divine like when justice is seasoned with mercy. Therefore, Jew, though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in the course of justice none of us should see salvation. Although, Jew, you are asking for, your plea is, you're requesting for mercy, but in the course of justice, when you, what is due in the course of justice? Remember, when we all would be there justified in front of God, no one will get salvation. We do pray for mercy always, and that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy. So in front of God, actually, remember, we will be judged according to the strict law of God. That is what he means here. Line number 205 onwards says, in the course of justice, none of us should see salvation. So, when you are demanding what is due to you in the name of justice, remember, if we were to be judged according to the strict justice of God, none of us would be saved. We pray to God, no, for mercy, but the same thing it teaches us to be merciful to others, to show the deeds of mercy. I have spoken thus much to mitigate the justice of thy plea. I have spoken this much. Why? Because I wanted to tell you the importance of mercy and to show little mercy. Okay, and therefore I have spoken so much. So I want to soften the harsh justice of your claim. So, which if you thus follow that harshness, the strict court of Venice must needs give sentence against the merchant there. Because if you follow that hard justice, then what will happen? This Antonio, the merchant standing here, he will suffer. The court of justice of Venice will have to pass the sentence against this merchant. Shylock says, my deeds upon my head. I crave the law, the penalty and forfeit of my bond. So, let the consequence of my deeds be on me only. I seek what? I crave for what? Only the penalty of my bond, which is because of the contract there was a breach in the contract. They were not able to fulfill the contract. That's why I am asking for this. Portia says, is he not able to discharge the money? Is not able to give the money? Bassanio says, yes, here. I tender it for him. I am ready to pay twice the sum. If that is not sufficient, I am ready to pay 10 times. On forfeit of my hands, my head, my heart. If this will not suffice, it must appear that malice peers down truth. And he says, I will definitely give this. Okay, and if I'm not able to give sufficient amount of this, then you can forfeit, you can take away my hands, my head and my heart. Again, 3 points, remember these 3 points. And it must appear that malice, and then it will appear that malice is destroying honesty. Jealousy is destroying honesty. And I request to you, rest once the law to your authority. And one request he makes at this point of time, unusual kind of request. This shows his friendship, the bond of friendship and love for Antonio. He is suffering because Antonio is suffering. So he says, I request to you, rest once the law to your authority. Just do one thing, please. I request to you, do a greater justice. To do a great thing, just do a little wrong. Okay, commit a small irregularity by curbing this cruel, by depriving this cruel devil of fulfilling his wish. So I wish to. This is a small request he makes to Portia as a lawyer, Balthazar. So Portia says, it must not be. There is no power in Venice can alter a decree established. It will be recorded for a precedent, and many an error by the same example will rush into the state. It cannot be. Children, in the law, course of law, or in the court of law, if one case is being fought, a judgment is made in a wrong manner, it will be taken as an example for the future cases. This is what Portia means, that it cannot be, it's not possible. There's no power in Venice that can change or alter a working of established law, decree, working of established law, because it will be recorded as an example or as a precedent in future. And because of this now, setting this as an example, the many errors may creep into governing the state. So it cannot be. Shylock says, a Daniel come to judgment here. Daniel, O wise young judge, how I do honor thee. He's so happy. It seems that Portia has actually surprised everyone. Shylock is more surprised and happy because it seems that the court bond must be followed, justice must be followed, and that means that Shylock can take the penalty of 1 pound of flesh, and therefore he praises Portia by calling him that Balthazar, Portia in the disguise of Balthazar, Daniel. Now, who's Daniel? A great Jewish character referred in the Old Testament in the Bible, who was known for his wisdom and judgment. So, in Bible, this Jewish character is named as, his name is Daniel, and therefore Shylock calls Portia Daniel. He's very happy, praises Portia a lot. With this, we end this video here only.